No. No.
How does that apply to this? Because from what we understand, it's a journey towards studying. But is there something else that we should be doing as well?
Yeah. So that hadith of Imam al-Basri, I have explained this hadith in few sessions in Canada. It's online, alhamdulillah. What does it mean? But briefly, the idea is that knowledge starts with learning, going to school, reading books, asking ulama, but it's not end of the story. This is just the beginning of the story. This prepares your heart and mind to receive the real knowledge. And that is a light that Allah projects into the heart. But you cannot expect this without learning through conventional methods. But be sure that just reading books and studying and asking questions and taking notes and getting degrees is not enough. These are like information that you'd get. But to have enlightened heart, you need piety and you need ubudiyyah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put this light into your heart. But you have to begin with that. You cannot bypass it. You cannot say, I don't go to school, I don't go to Hose, I don't read any book, I don't go to any lecture. I am waiting for Allah to send that light to me. No, that light doesn't come unless you are thirsty for knowledge. And the way to show you are thirsty for knowledge is to use whatever is available. Then Allah will give you, inshallah, more. Thank you for the question. Yes. Yes.
I don't know if this thing's what you said, but I remember hearing from a lecture by Sheikh you might know him.
Yes.
He mentioned a poem by Imam Khomeini. It was very interesting. He said the Imam was talking about how he did not drink that cup of wine that God gave him, or that something about love in that cup of wine. He did not find it in Hausa or in a specific book of Arfan that he mentioned. I don't know the name of it. And he was talking about all of these things in his poem. And I was very interested to understand what that means.
So it means that, as I said, just learning this theoretical knowledge is not enough. But this is the prerequisite. You have to learn, you have to put into practice, but then inshallah your heart will be ready to receive enlightenment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But first you have to follow the conventional methods. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Where can I find your lectures? So they are on YouTube. If you put topic and Shomali, they would come. Most of my lectures are in a YouTube channel for either Islamic Center or Islamic lectures by Dr. Shomali. So most of the lectures are in these two places. But if you know the topic, if you want a list, you can go to Rationality Institute website, and there is a list of my Boza lectures with the summaries and also other lectures, inshallah. And in which mosque Husseiniya do you give lectures? In different places. Right now, there is no one place that I'm giving lecture, but normally everything I put on Facebook also so that people know. How do you prove the existence of God to an atheist? Yes. So this is actually one of the good questions that we should discuss, but if the time is not permitting, I have discussed this in several lectures. In all the courses on Aqaid, we have lessons on Islamic beliefs, Islamic belief system, The very first thing that we have done is to prove the existence of God through cosmological argument, through teleological argument, through argument from fitrah. Please go and check those lectures, and if you have any question, then I am happy to discuss. Maybe inshallah in future we can also discuss them, but there is no way for someone today to say, I have no access. Alhamdulillah, many books are there, many lectures are there, and I am at your service. There is no problem, and it is very good if you have these questions, but you have to be thirsty for knowledge. You have to go and you will find. If you don't find, come and ask. But certainly there are enough to answer your question. One question is, what exactly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean by وَيُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ? Does that mean we should believe without question? No. Very good question. Ghaib means something which you cannot through your senses see. It's hidden from us. Not that it is a problem in that thing, Our perception is limited. We cannot understand things which are not physical unless through reasoning. If there are angels here, it's my problem that I cannot see them. I cannot understand that they are here. So, يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ means to believe in those things that they exist, and truthful sources have informed us about them, but we are not able to see them by our eyes. It doesn't mean to believe in something which has no basis, and so Iman bil Ghaib is different from Iman blindly. Very good question. Thank you very much. This one, I have difficulty in reading I didn't bring my glasses. So if the person with this question can explain it, or yeah, maybe.
It says, this life is temporary and the hereafter is permanent. We will either go to heaven for eternal bliss or hell for eternal damnation. It's fair. Oh, is it fair for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to decide how we spend eternity based on our lifetime?
Is it
fair for Allah ta'ala to decide of how to spend our eternity based on our lifetime? So some go to hell.
Yeah, I think the question is how reward and punishment can be eternal while we have had temporary life. Of course, normally they don't ask it about eternal heaven. Everyone is happy to go there eternally. The question is normally why there is eternal punishment while we only lived 30, 40, 50, 100 years maximum. This is a very good question. The answer is, first of all, the people who would be in hell forever are not many. This is very important. Those who go to heaven, they go forever. When you go to heaven, no one would ask you to leave. Because this is not a heavenly quality to ask your guests to leave. Yes? So if you go to heaven, you are there forever. No, to heaven I'm saying. So anyone who goes to heaven goes forever. Those who go to hell are not everyone who doesn't go to heaven. It's not that everyone who goes to hell is someone who doesn't go to heaven. First of all, we have some people who neither go to heaven nor to hell. So this is one group. Okay? So there are people who go to heaven and they are there forever. There are people who don't go to heaven because they don't qualify for that, and even Allah's mercy and forgiveness has not given them enough to go to heaven, but they are not punished. For example, someone like Hatam Ta'i, he was a mushrik, but he was a generous person. Because of his generosity, he would not be punished. Some ulama say, even if you have one virtue, you will not be punished. If you have really one virtue sincerely, you will not be punished. But then we have people who have sins that need punishment. Sometimes these sins are forgiven in dunya. Sometimes these sins are forgiven at the time of death. Difficulties of death refine and purify these people. Sometimes these sins are forgiven in barzakh. Sometimes they are forgiven on the day of judgment. Some people are sentenced to go to hell and then shafa'ah rescues them. Allama Tabatabai says shafa'ah is for the people who are even sentenced to go, and shafa'ah comes and releases them. But if none of these helps, and those are supposed to go to hell, still it doesn't mean that they remain there forever. Many people after some time, they will be released. The only people who remain forever in hell, or are promised to remain in hell forever, are people who are so vicious that not only they did not accept the truth, they rejected the truth, and they did their best to stop other people following the truth. These are the people that we have in Dua Kumil, that these are mu'anideen. You know, in Dua Kumil, لَوْلَا مَا أَقْسَمْتَ مِنْ تَعْذِيبَ جَاحِدِيكَ وَإِخْلَاقِ مُعَانِدِيكَ لَجَعَلْتَ النَّارَ كُلَّهَا بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا. People who have deliberately killed the believers. Thank you very much. So, it's not that every person who doesn't go to heaven goes to hell forever. First of all, many people don't go to hell, even if they don't go to hell. Many people are forgiven. And if someone, nothing has helped him or her and has to go to hell, many of them after some time come, unless viciousness has become part of their nature. If something by nature is vicious, means their nature is fire, then they cannot be anywhere else. Because reward and punishment is manifestation of what you have done in dunya, what you have achieved in dunya. Embodiment of your actions. People who go to hell are people who have the same nature even in dunya. It's not that, we just decide, this person goes to hell, this person to hell, and we could, make decisions differently. No, this is based on reality and embodiment of the actions and traits of character. This question is about, we know that Imam Ali alayhi salam alone can have victory in any battle, so why did Imam Ali say, if I had Ja'far and Hamza, I would fight for my right? Imam should have helpers, and sometimes, through miracles, through extraordinary acts, through karamat, they do something that is decided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the way they normally behave is through normal means. So Imam doesn't use his special power to solve normal situations. Therefore, if Amir al-Mu'minin salam has helpers, if Imam Hassan has helpers, then they can stand for the truth, for the right. If they don't have helpers, then they have to see what is the maslahah, what is the best interest. Imam Hussein's understanding was that the maslahah for Islam, for Muslims, for the lighter, was to stand, because they were not just happy that Imam does not, work with them. They wanted Imam to pay allegiance. They wanted Imam to be part and parcel of their unjust system. Imam's calculation was he must not accept. So, depending on the situations, Imam make decisions, and they are very rational in their decisions, and the methods and the calculations all are rational, so that we can learn. We can also benefit from. If they were going to do things in a miraculous way and using, always, hidden powers, then we were not able to take them as our role models and leaders. Okay, we have this. The question is, what hostel did you go to? What is your advice for young teens that want to go to? I first started hostel in Tehran. So I used to go 3 days a week to one of ulama in Tehran after my school to take lessons on Arabic. And then someone else started teaching us logic in another place. So I used to go to take lessons on logic in one place and then to Arabic after the school. And our school was finishing also in the afternoon, so it was a long day. But alhamdulillah, we had so much interest that we used to go to different places to learn. My school was also far, maybe 1 hour away from home. But then I felt this is not enough. Just taking some lessons on Arabic and logic was not enough to give answer to my questions. I had to study philosophy and theology deeply. So I decided to go to Qom. So in 1982, I went to Qom, alhamdulillah, and since then, I am, alhamdulillah, talaba student. The question is, what's the proof that everything limited has a cause? Yes. Says, I have seen a great amount of your theology videos, and I'm curious. We have explained this, but briefly, even in philosophy courses, in cause and effect, Eliya, we have explained this. Muslim philosophers and theologians have said anything that exists is one of the two. Either they are contingent or necessary. Means either in themselves they can exist and not exist. For example, this microphone, this flower, is it necessary being or it's contingent being? It's not necessary being. There was a time that this didn't exist. In future also it may not exist. There is nothing there that says this must exist in itself. None of us are necessary being. So, for us, existence and non-existence are equal. It means that it should come from outside. Something has to grant us existence. We then ask about that thing, which is cause. Is it also necessary or contingent? At the end, we should reach something that is necessary, because otherwise this will go endlessly. We have to have something that does not depend for its existence on outside. Otherwise, everything relies on another thing, and that relies on another thing, that relies on another thing. Nothing happens. Like, for example, I tell the first person do something, he says, I don't do it unless the second person does. I tell the second person, about the third person. The third says the fourth. If it goes like this, never something happens. We have to have someone who doesn't depend his action on others. What qualities of the Quran is being referred to in the ayah that says produce a same chapter, not verse? This is the concept of tahaddi, challenge. There are different aspects of miraculous nature of the Quran. For the Arabs of that time, the most important aspect of the Quran was the eloquence and exceptional beauty of the Quran. They were not very deep, in their philosophical ideas, scientific ideas. For them, the main thing was eloquence. They could understand that there is profound idea, but language was very important. The Arabs at that time, they were very, very good in language. And they were very also proud of their language and Arabic. Inside Kaaba, in addition to the idols, they received 7 pieces of poem, known as Mu'allaqat al-Sabah. So they had their idols inside Kaaba and they had these poems. Means so much these poems were important for them that they put it inside Kaaba. Mu'allaqat al-Sabah. These are poems from the time of Jahiliyyah. So they were so careful about their accent, their Arabic. They didn't want their Arabic to be mixed with anything. Noble families used to send their children to desert so that their Arabic is pure and doesn't mix. And they were very surprised with the eloquence of the Quran. There was such a beauty in the Quran that they could not resist. In the courses about Quran, I have explained that. But for someone like Allama Tabatabai, like Ayatollah Mutahari, like Ibn Sina, like Mullah Sadra, philosophical ideas of the Quran are the most important thing. The ideas about akhlaq, about life, are the most important thing. They find things in the Quran that they cannot find anywhere. For some people, scientific points in the Quran are very important. There are things in the Quran about, for example, embryology, that some people, find it that this cannot be word of a human being. There are also predictions, like things which were foretold in the Quran about, for example, victory of Romans after some years, about many things, about Kawthar and other things that are used also to do tahaddi. But the main thing to make it short, is to bring first something like the Quran, then it was reduced to 10 chapters, then it was reduced to 1 chapter, 1 surah. And surah means a portion, a passage, not necessarily surah in the sense that we say 114 surah, but means bring a passage like the Quran, which is consistent, which is meaningful, which is deep, and which is beautiful, which is not something that, every person, even a great poet, can make. There are many stories here how some people tried to produce something like Quran, and it became very funny. Very funny, laughable. Okay, there are 2 questions. Three actually. And each of them needs a line time. One is about the existence of God, one is about problem of evil, one is about free will. So it's very good that, alhamdulillah, we have this question. But yes, as I said, about all this, alhamdulillah, we have discussed in a systematic way in lectures for elementary, for intermediate, for advanced, in theology, philosophy. All of them, alhamdulillah, are there. If you are interested, inshallah, start these lectures, but carefully. Listen, take notes, and discuss. But in few minutes, the argument for existence of God I already gave you. One of the arguments for existence of God is this argument of wujub al-imkan. Anything that exists is either necessary to exist, or it can exist and it cannot exist. If you say it's impossible to exist, then it's contradiction, because it exists already. So anything that exists either must be something that necessarily exists, or it is contingent, means mumkin al-wujud, can exist and also cannot exist. There are only two options. Is there any third option? No. If it is necessary, being is God. If it is contingent, means it can exist, it cannot exist, so it needs something else to necessitate existence for it. We ask about that second thing. Is it necessary or contingent? If you say it's necessary, okay, that is God. If you say it's contingent, then we move question to that and say, what grants existence to this? It's very good argument. This is the argument that before Islam and after Islam, philosophers developed, and Avicenna very much developed this idea. There are questions about tasalsul and other things, but I think it's very simple. You don't need to go into complication. We have also other arguments, but I think this is the argument that in 5 minutes you can, convince everyone if they really want to understand. About the problem of evil, the summary of is this. No one can prove that what we take to be shar or evil is 100% shar or evil. It's all relative. Sometimes I don't understand something. I think this is not needed or it is bad. If you ask a person who is not, for example, expert, there are so many things parts in the car. What are they? They just occupy. And if someone is not wise, anything that doesn't know takes it out. But if it's wise, says this car is designed by engineers, it has gone to lots of research, laboratories, tests over centuries. I cannot take out everything that I don't understand, and I just think it doesn't look nice. If it was not there, I had more space. We don't have complete knowledge so that we can say the world could exist in a better way. You don't know why the world is like this. It doesn't mean that there is no reason behind it. There is no wisdom behind it. The maximum we can do is to ask questions. We cannot say God does not have wise reason for this. We can just wonder why, for example, some people have children, some people don't have children. I cannot question wisdom of God, because I don't have the whole picture. Maybe if I also had all the information, I would have also said this person is better not to have a child. Maybe for his or her own interest, maybe for the interest of the child, maybe for, I don't know, lots of other reasons. But because I don't know, it's like the story of Musa and Khizr. Because Musa didn't have the knowledge that Khizr had, was objecting. So there is nothing in the world which is 100% bad. It's all relative. Our understanding is very limited. So if we have proved that Allah has all the knowledge, all the power, and He is benevolent, then we have to trust Him. Instead of trying to make my aql, my little knowledge, the basis of judgment, we trust His judgment, and we try to little by little widen our understanding. Yes, how do we have free will if our actions are decided by our environment and upbringing? Our actions are not decided by our environment or upbringing. Environment has a role. Upbringing has a role in the sense that they can make it easy for you or more difficult. But in the end of the day, you have to make the decision. You can have two people exactly brought up in the same environment, with the same parents, the same school, but they may become different people. It's not that they necessarily become the same. On the other hand, two people, one in a very easy condition, one in difficult condition, they can become the same. Or maybe the one in the difficult condition may become better. So, there is a role in environment. There is a role in family, in education, but these roles are not decisive. They are not making the final decision about you. The only person in the whole world that Allah has given control and authority over yourself is you. You make yourself a good person or bad person. Other things can just help or make it difficult. But the good thing is that if you are working in a more difficult condition, you receive more help. And the little that you do is more appreciated. So overall, everyone is the same. The fair treatment. There is no favoritism. Some start with more friendly conditions, some more difficult, but anything is taken into account. And Allah expects from you based on what you have been given, not based on equal, situation. No, some people have been given more, they are expected to do more. Some people are given less, they are expected to do less. Okay, I think, Alhamdulillah, we answered the questions. Thank you very much for your interest and for your participation. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase our understanding and ma'rifah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.